Just waiting on 101, guys. We should say start times at 101. So I'm just waiting on that. There we go. It's 101. What's up? What's up? What's up? I see guys in the house. Gabby Doodle's in the house. That's my niece. She rocks. Chandel, Malik. What's happening, guys? Today, look at, man. Look at, we're going to crush it. We're going to talk about things that are going to send you to the next level and how to think of the next level. The word of the day, for you don't know, is called altitude. And what does altitude actually mean? When I say the word altitude, like, what do I mean? The definition is going to a height, elevating yourself above sea level or above the ground, like taking your place to a higher level. So to me, what exactly is altitude, right? Altitude is about what you're trying to reach, where you're trying to go, raising your standards and what you're willing to accept. Let's talk about that first of all. Altitude. What is it that I'm trying to reach? You know, we talk about so much in our life. Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? How do we want to get there? What do we surround ourselves with? But altitude, it's one thing about being aware of what you want. It's another thing about taking action. But how do you even visualize where you want to go? How do you cause and create a higher level or a higher standard for yourself? And to me, it starts all with one main thing. Ready? We ultimately have the power to decide. We have the power of decision. So the first way you're going to raise your altitude is, first of all, decide, where is it that I want to go? What is it that I want to do? How do I get there? So how is it that I can, if I'm here, how do I raise? Well, I'm going to give you a story. When I was in somebody on the call, I know Chandel's on the call. She works for me, just so you know. Chandel knows that when I raised my practice, when I really grew my practice from $1 million practice to a $2 million practice, and then really up to the level, is I changed the way I changed my standards. I mean, what just a little thumbs up or heart. Everyone knows what I mean when I say by changing your standards, changing the norm. Y'all know what that means? Little thank you. I changed the way I even walked in. So for me to change your altitude or change where I wanted to go to elevate my game per se, if you have to elevate, you got to do something totally different. You have to totally change what you're continually doing. And so many of us live in this norm, in this little hamster wheel we call life. And we go, we're just going to take action and we're just going to spin. It needs to be the action, the right action, but you also got to visualize where you want to go. So what I did is I said, okay, what is it that I want to do? Okay, I want to grow my practice. And then I started studying people. What do they do to raise their level? How do you become better? How do you become stronger? I know Guy, my brother-in-law, I know he's on this call. He likes to work out, but in order to gain muscle mass, in order to elevate your game in fitness, whatever it is, you must do something totally differently. You must behave in a totally different manner. So really raising your altitude or elevating your game or raising your standards is really just doing something totally different than what you've always done. And so in dentistry, what I did, I started dressing differently. I used to wear scrubs all the time, didn't really care what I looked like, had some ill-fitting sweaters, whatever it is. All of a sudden, one day I woke up and started wearing a suit. I came in and started reading motivational books, and I started training my team exactly the same thing I was learning. No different than what I'm doing today. I'm trying to teach other people things that have worked for me to elevate their game. I want Malik to be the best version of himself that he possibly can be. I want him to raise the standards so high that he knows what it means to raise an altitude, how to get better, how to get stronger. I want Ken, who's on the call, to become the best version of himself and raise a level he never thought possible. But you must do that by thinking differently, raising your own standards. See, the funny thing is in life is we let ourselves off the hook more than other people. See, when we talk about the word with Richie Dolan, we talk about this word integrity. And just a thumbs up if you guys kind of have a basic idea what integrity is. Little thumbs up here. Okay. So here, the word integrity, right? We think of integrity. It's keeping your word or doing what you say you're going to do or behaving in a way, you know, when people aren't watching. That is true integrity. So like integrity to me is we hold other people, ready? You might need to coin this and think about this logically. And I say this a lot. We hold other people to standards we can't even hold ourselves to. And you're like, whoa, what do you mean by that? I will hold Gabby more accountable than I hold myself. So I'm out of integrity. It's so easy the word integrity or altitude. In order to raise your game, you must first figure out what it is you want to go to, but you must hold yourself in true integrity to raise your standards. So when I decided to be a dentist, when I decided to be something or raise the level of my own practice, I had to carry myself in such a way and lead by example. That is the only way you can raise your own standards, is now you must form a new norm. You're not that hamster just spinning on a wheel. You might be doing something different. Instead of putting your pants on the right leg at the same time, maybe you do the left. Try something different. The only way you can elevate is you must find a resistance point and blow through it. That to me is how you're really going to raise where you want to go. You're going to raise your standards. You're going to raise your norm. You're going to raise whoever you want to be. If Gabby's on the phone, and I know Gabby, this is my niece, so I know she wants to be the best version of herself she possibly can. What does she have to do? She's a singer. If you don't know her, I know she's a singer. She's awesome, by the way. You can YouTube or do whatever. She's phenomenal, Gabby Blondin. Little side hustle there. But anyway, I digress. If Gabby wants to raise where she wants to go, she must push herself to the level she never thought possible. She must raise, if she got to hit a higher note. You know, she said to me that, I'll never forget this. She said to me, she goes, it's actually easier to hit the higher notes than the low notes. And I didn't quite understand that because she's just talented. I'm not that talented. But my point is I didn't understand that. But I think what she means by that, if I break that sentence down to her, is once you hit a certain level, just to push yourself a little bit more, it's easier. Just to go that little 1% more, it becomes easier because you've raised your altitude so much, or your level so much, or you've elevated yourself so much. It's a little bit easier to push through it because you've had so much practice back here. And that's really all life is to raise your standards or to raise where you want to go. First, know where you want to go. Secondly, study people. Surround yourself with people that have already been there to help you. So I know that, you know, Guy likes to work out. So he's studying people to work out. You know, I know this because I'm close to some of these people. I know he loves pushing himself. He must, to raise his altitude, he surrounds himself with people that are going to make him a better version of himself. We talked about taking action. We talked about being aware of your surroundings. We talked about people you associate with. Sometimes, ready, people you hang around with will lower your altitude. Uh-oh. So there it goes. Everything is tying in. You can see how we're tying all this in. From action to awareness to association to whatever action you take now to altitude, it all ties in. It all ties in. In order to become more, you must want something more in the future. In order to become a better version of yourself, you must know what that looks like and behave that day every single day. In order for my practice to double, I had to associate myself with a team that would help me raise my altitude. It's not hard. This shit isn't rocket science. It's what are you willing to put in, and who are you going to surround yourself with, and what action you're going to take to help raise your own standards. Guys, even in life, I'm at different standards when I'm 20 than I am at 50. I set different expectations, different standards. And if anybody knows women who get married, please, they've already set their standards. And if you don't meet their standards, that's funny. You ain't living long. AKA, guy, that was a thumbs up between you and I, by the way. My point is to raise your altitude, to raise your standards, you need to surround yourself with people that can get you. You need to hone yourself into things that are going to help you elevate it, not destroy you. Your inner circle, they always say you're closest to the 5 people you hang around with, and that's who you become. Man, don't take that for a grain of salt. Don't just push that aside. I know there's a lot of people on this call. I know them very well. I know some I don't know. And for you, I don't know. Hey, I hope to get to know you in the future. But my point is be very cautious of who you say your dreams to, very, very cautious of who you associate with, and be very cautious of who you allow in your circle. Because you'll be a product of that, I promise you. And they will actually lower your altitude and deter you from where you want to go. You don't believe me? How many times people said, hey, you forgot where you come from? Or you know what? You think you're better than us, or you think you're this, or you think you're that. It happens all the time. So in order to raise your altitude, you got to become more than what you want to become. And you got to think of the future you're looking for, you're striving for. So how do you create an altitude? We talked about this a little bit. I touched on it. How do I create a higher level for myself? How do I become something bigger than I am right now. Like, how do you really do that? Guys, it always stems from back in the beginning. What is it that you want, and how can I raise my standards? Even if it's a relationship, we talk about raising an altitude of something. Let's just talk about a relationship. If you're not getting back in that relationship what you want, you're allowing shit to happen. You're not even raising your standards. You're just tolerating stuff and letting life happen to you. We've talked about this before. Is life happening for you or to you? A victim says it's happening to me. Somebody who wants to win says it's happening for me. So when you're meeting resistance, if you want to meet your different standards, if you want to create a different altitude or raise your standards, we're going to say altitude and raising the standards are the same thing. You must decide where you want to go and surround yourself with people to get there. Raise your own standards. Don't tolerate the bullshit you have in your life. Period. End of story. I see Bob's on the call. I can see his face. Love you, Bobby. I see my mom, Linda must be on the call. They're in Florida. Thank you for showing up. But in order to raise your altitude, it starts with changing and raising your standards, period. Don't tolerate the bullshit that you don't want in your life. Don't tolerate it. It's done. To become a better version of yourself, fight through that resistance, fight through all those struggles, fight through all those pain points, blow through every obstacle in your way. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, life isn't easy. This shit's hard. And think about a trunk of a tree. And I know I'm going on a tangent, but I want you to think of a tree. When you start feeling victim to your shit, when you start playing victim to your circumstances, when you start having a pity party for yourself and you're actually lowering your altitude versus increasing, because I promise you, if you play victim, you're lowering your standards, not increasing them. I promise you that. But let me tell you something. How does a tree get stronger? Think about this. How do the roots get deeper in the ground? It's not from rainbows and sunshine. It has nothing to do with it. It's not from getting water. It's from meeting resistance. It's from meeting changes of climates of weather. It's about meeting wind blowing against it. It says, oh my God, I can't tolerate this wind. I got to dig deeper in the ground and get stronger. In order for me to keep growing as a tree, I got to deepen my roots. In order for me to raise my altitude, I got to deepen the shit that I got to endure. So when you have your pity party for yourself and you understand life's just not that fair, oh boo-hoo, understand that you must meet resistance. That's what this is intended for. Life is about resistance and overcoming it. And when you break through that moment, when you break through that pain point, or when you break through that struggle, and you now increase your standards of where you want to go, man, you will have a badge of honor on your chest that nobody can stop you. You'll raise your altitude so much that now what you thought wasn't possible yesterday becomes the norm today. Another side story in dentistry, when somebody said to me when I was in dental school, just so you understand this, so you can appreciate where you can start and where you can go. It took me 3 hours to do one prep in dental school. 3 hours. 3 hours. And some people on this call are from my dental office and they know I see 65 patients a day now. Really? In an 8-hour day, I can see up to 65 people? Well, if I let my standards be the 3-hour standard, I wouldn't amount to anything. But how is it possible that I can see 45 and 55 and 65 patients in a day? How is it possible that I could do one prep and now I can do 20 preps in the same amount of time? Because I raised my standards. I raised my altitude. If you want to become a better mother, if you're on this call and you want to become a better mother, stop lowering your standards to not being a good mother. Be a great mother. Study a great mother. Study somebody that does it. Raise your own standards and become the best version of yourself. Whatever you focus on, you will become. Gabby Doodle, who's on this call, you want to be the badass singer of this world, I promise you. You want to be the best version of yourself. Stop accepting mediocrity. Work harder. Sing more. Do more. Act more. Behave more. Listen to more. Study more. You got to dig deep. Life isn't easy. This shit is hard. You want to talk to anybody when I was in dental school, how I did it? I slept 2 hours a day for 4 years. Yes, I had help from family and friends. Yes, I had everything that had me. Yes, I had support. But I also had to put in the work. I also had to not sleep. I also had to study 8 hours a day. And for people that know me, this is not a bullshit story. I studied 8 hours a day while I was in dental school. I promise you. I didn't go to parties. I didn't go to certain things. I missed functions in order to raise my altitude and become what I wanted to be. Life is not easy. It's not. But if you want to raise your standards, you must behave differently and act differently. If you want to be the best physical fitness person in the world, you must raise your standards of the food you put in your body. Can I get a thumbs up if this is tracking for everybody? A little heart. We good? All right, cool. Thank you. So you must raise whatever it is you're willing to tolerate in your life. This is what's awesome, Doodle. This is what's awesome. And I'm speaking to my niece because I can see her. She's the only name I can see. So I apologize if I don't acknowledge everybody. I can see Gabby on this call, and I'm speaking right to her soul right now, and I hope she listens. The only way, damn, I get emotional because it's my family. Sorry. The only way you can raise who you want to be is endure all the pain and embrace it. You must embrace pain to become the best version of yourself. You must embrace every failure and own it. It's never failure if you keep going. It's only failure when you stop. Let me hear, for people that don't know me, this shit is hard. I fail every day as a father. I fail every day as a husband. I fail every day as a friend. I fail every day, and I don't meet expectations that people might set every single day. But you know what I always do? My mom on the call, I don't always respond the best when my mom picks up the phone. I don't. But you know what I do? I embrace it. I own it. And I say, what do I have to do differently today so that I can become the best version of myself tomorrow? Nobody in life is going to be your savior. Nobody in life can take you to the promised land but you. Nobody. Not your mom, not your dad, not your sister, not your friend, not your coworker. Nobody can help you raise the standards but yourself. They can't help you. I'm saying that wrong. They can help you. They can't get you there. I'm saying it wrong, but nobody can be your savior. It's the work you put in your life is what you're going to get out of it. It is the work that you're willing to do to change or raise your standards is what you're going to get out of it. It is, if you have that debilitating thing that you hear, it's going to be your power, your will, your might that's going to get you out of it. You don't believe me? Look at the generation of kids that we're raising right now. Look at who we're raising in this world right now. We're going to give you a free handout, but they can't raise their altitude. Why? Because they don't know how. They haven't faced that resistance. They haven't faced that pain point. They haven't faced all the obstacles that we've all faced. For some of the people that are over 40 on the call, which are most of us. My point is they haven't faced that. So they don't know how to overcome that. And you're going to learn that. That's why I love when people say, hey, I'm going through a hard time. Awesome. Let's talk about it. How can we raise your standards? How do we raise what Linda tolerates? How do we raise what Guy tolerates? How do we raise the standards that Chandel tolerates? How do we become the best version of ourselves? So the real question is, how do you empower yourself? How do you give yourself the empowerment to face all this? And it's literally by declaring of what you want. Put a declaration out there. You guys know what I want. I want to make the greatest impact of every single person's life that I come in contact with. That's a declaration. So let me ask you this question. Do you think I have to raise my standards and raise my altitude if that's really my purpose and my mission in life? Hell yes, I do. That means every single time I'm on this call, I got to raise my level. I got to take, whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, and I got to raise it and speak to you. And hopefully just to influence one person. Hopefully to make an impact in one person's life. It's huge. So how do you raise your altitude, or how do you empower yourself, or how do you raise your altitude when you're not there yet? And I said this earlier. Get around people that will support you. Get around people that when you're around them, you just get magnetic in energy, that you know that they're not judging you. They don't want anything from you besides the best you. Get around people that have already done it and created a roadmap for you and just modify it. I like that little twist. I modify stuff. Like, here's a cool thing. Like, when I was in dental school, I went to dental school and I surrounded myself with people that taught me the skill of dentistry. But then I take that skill they taught me and I make it my own. Right? It's everything you do in life. Like, I know my grandmother had a recipe to make a certain sauce. right? And it was the best sauce until then my mom made the sauce. And then that was the best sauce. And then all of a sudden my sister can make a good sauce. But what they're doing is it's the same recipe. They're doing their little twist to it. And every single time it gets a little bit better, a little bit different. And maybe I can't remember grandma's sauce. But my point is, it's always like, oh my God, this is the best sauce. So it's not about do I have it all figured out? It's about can I be around people that give me the recipe and then I modify it to become the best version of myself to raise my standards and raise who I want to become. That's all you have to do. Life is the simplest hack in the world. You need to surround yourself with people that want the best for you, that won't judge you, that don't need anything from you. So who you associate with, it all goes back circle. It's so huge. This is tracking. Thumbs up, guys. Heart. This is tracking. Thank you. So then it goes all the way back to that planner we talked about. That dang planner. Here he goes again with the planner. And if you haven't downloaded the planner, you need to download the planner. So ready? How do I raise my altitude? How do I get around the people I want? How do I cause and create that life I want? How do I create my future? Guys, it says it in the Bible, and I'm going to remind you until you actually do it because nobody's done it yet. It says it in the Bible. You must write it in tablets. Okay, well, we don't have stone tablets. We have a thing called paper and a pen and a planner. Okay, so God evolved us. We don't need stones, and we don't have to hit mallets to write letters. We actually have ink pens, and we have a computer, and we have paper that we can actually put our goals and dreams on. And this is on the chat. You can see where you can download my planner. It's free, guys. This is just a free thing for you. You must write down what you want to cause and create. I'm going to call it the Cause and Creation Planner now. Like maybe we change the name. Now, that's a Richie Dolan phrase. If you don't know Richie Dolan, he always says cause and create your future. So that's not my phrase. But I guess I'm a mastermind student of his, so I can use it. So I'm just going to say cause and create planner. Like, how do I cause and create everything I want? You must write it down first, guys. It's simple. If you're not willing to take a step to tell your own brain and control your own brain of what you want, you'll never accomplish anything. I promise you. Stop. Because you won't have the mindset to overcome these obstacles. You won't have the mindset or the fortitude to withstand anything because it's not important enough. If it's not important enough for you to write it down, you're not going to do it. That's why they have the honey-do list, right? It's not a want to. It's just a want to. It's not a have to, right? So if you're not willing to write down your goals, and if anybody knows me, I said this for 2 years, and I will accomplish it this year. I'll put it right on social media. I don't really care. I will have a $4 million dental practice. Like I have said that for the last 2 years. I could pull up a journal if you want, and I could show it to you. Matter of fact, next time I will show it to you. I don't have it in front of me. I'd have to leave. I will show you my goals, and I will show you what I wrote down. And I promise you, if anybody, I'm Chandel, better give me a thumbs up on this. I will accomplish it this year. We will have a $4 million dental practice. Flat out, 100%. It's going to happen. It's just was written down. You're like, but what did you do differently? And that's the secret, guys. Nothing. I behaved and raised my altitude by just writing it down. Whatever you want to be more spiritual with Christ, for God's sakes, write it down. What do you want it to look like? How do you want it to be? Do you want God to speak to you? Do you not? Whatever it is, just write it down. Write it down. If you're not willing to write it down on a piece of paper, you'll get nothing. You want to know why? Because life gets busy. And you know what you got to do sometimes with this piece of paper that's in front of me? Okay, just like I get on a tangent with you guys, what do you think this paper is for? Oh, it's to keep me on track. What a concept. So when you write down your goals and you have to look at them every day, it's an accountability tool. And the cool thing is when you write down your goals, or you write down what you want to cause and create in your life, or you want to write down your next 5 years, you're actually holding yourself accountable, because guess what? You're going to call bullshit on yourself if you're not doing anything for it. You're going to call bullshit on yourself if you're not even moving towards it. That means, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, by when? So let's get clear. Like, I want to lose 20 pounds in the next 2 months. Okay, so ready? You're reading that statement, and then I'll ask you at the end of the day, hey, are your actions matching what you're trying to do? Well, no. Okay, so if you did that 10 days in a row, and you can't get disappointed if you don't hit your goal that you didn't lose 20 pounds, because you really didn't change the behavior. So understand that this writing stuff down on a piece of paper and a planner is going to help you cause and create what you want, but it's going to hold you accountable. And then you're going to set out mini goals, mini targets. I use the word goals because everyone understands goals. I like targets. So anyone tells me like, I like to miss small, not big. A goal is something this big. But if you think about writing down targets, like your target mark, if you miss, you're missing this big. Right? So you got to think of a bullseye. I like to shoot at targets. People can shoot at goals. Call it what you want. As long as you have an accountability piece in there, it doesn't matter. So the planner or the cause and creation planner is just a guide for you to write down what you want so that your brain, your conscious mind, and even your subconscious mind can help you get there. The more conscious you become, the more you write stuff down consciously, the more you're going to act on it. The problem is so many people do stuff unconsciously. All their actions are unconsciously. All their thoughts are done unconsciously, meaning there's 75,000 or 60,000 thoughts, something like that we do in a day. 90% of them are just on autopilot. You're the hamster spinning in the wheel. So if you can create a conscious decision, constant thoughts to change your altitude and to raise your standards, you're going to be money. So at the end of the day, write down your stuff in a planner, figure out what you want to do, figure out how you can raise your standards. How can I become the best version of myself? We did this last week. And if you don't remember, write on a piece of paper in this format, and I'll just do a little T-graph. You can say it's a cross, but it's a little T-graph. If you can't see it, I'll try to get closer. T-graph, right? This is who I am today. This is where I want to go tomorrow. And write down all your characteristics of who you are today. Who am I today? Where do I want to go tomorrow? Okay, and let's just play this out. Write in your planner of who you are today and where you want to go tomorrow. What traits, what character traits would you have to change, or what standards would you have to raise to become that person? Where do you have to go on an altitude level? How would I have to elevate my game? Do I have to get around people that can help me elevate it? What steps would I have to take? And in that journal, if you notice, or in that planner, it's a road. There's a little circle of a road, and it has these little hourglass things or mirrors on the side, and it gives you your end goal. Those are designed to set up mini targets or goals so that you know you're on the right path. I mean, I have a concept of this planner, like there was kind of thought about this logically. Am I staying on the right road? Am I on the right path? But understand this. You might fall off path, but you know the cool thing about the planner? It's your GPS system to get you back on track. It's your roadmap. It's your true guide to get you where you want to go. Sometimes we have to take a detour. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes life happens. And you're going to have to take a detour, but that planner will keep you on track. It'll hold you accountable. And then you're going to have your weekly reflections. Why are weekly reflections so important? It's because you know the changes you got to do to hit your goals. You know the changes or how to adjust, right? You might have that wind or that rain that's falling on you, or that storm that comes in, or that lightning bolt that strikes you. That shit's going to happen. But when you reflect weekly and you get off track, it's a way to get you back on track so you're not off monthly and yearly. The problem is so many people get so disappointed in one bad day that it turns into 2, 3, 4, 5 bad days. They get so upset about 1 hour being bad that they make it a whole day. We've heard this 1,000 times. I'm having a bad day. No, you're having a bad moment of the day. Like, own it. You're not having a bad day. That's 24 hours. Like, half the day you slept. That wasn't that bad. You probably thought it was good. But you're having a bad moment of the day, or you've heard something you didn't want to hear in that day. So the planner and raising your altitude and raising your standards, it's all about having the right perception and mindset of the whole thing. That planner, when you get off track, just, hey, jump on it. What is my goal again? Write it down. Write it down, speak it out loud, meditate on it, view on it, do whatever you want it to do. I literally meditate 30 minutes a day now. It started out with 5. Guys probably can go, you meditate 30 minutes a day? Like, holy snikes, like, how do you find the time, right? But here's what I'm going to tell you. In order for me to raise my standard, in order for me to raise my altitude, I must behave differently. It's all full back circle, what I said before. So now I know meditation is peaceful. I know I do it in the morning and at the very end. So I do 10 minutes in the morning and then 25 minutes before I go to bed. While you guys are watching Netflix or drinking your kumbaya, I'm meditating, like whatever it is. Like I just meditate. And it helps me program my mind. It helps me plan where I want to go. These are some hacks that can help you, but that just take the simple step to raise your altitude, to become a better version of yourself, to increase your standards. Please take the time to just put something in writing of what you want. And then all I'm asking you to do, these are free calls. Okay, this is free. Like tell a friend about it. That'd be awesome. Like share stuff, what we're trying to do as a group, because I want you to understand this. It says growing with Grossi. Yes, this says the dentist CEO. I just want to, my ultimate goal, just so you know, is to train every dentist to become an entrepreneur business owner. That's why the dentist CEO brand's there. This is growing with Grossi, though. This is growing together with me. This is, we are in this together. We are in this fight together. We are in this to grow as a unit. This is not about me. This is about we. This is about us. And so I'm learning at the same time. All I ask, a simple ask, is share this with somebody. Submit something in a planner, for God's sake. Show me that this means so much to you that you're willing to just submit something through an email and a planner. It's the info@thedentistceo.com. You can submit that. They can put that in the chat. You can connect with me personally. I will read this stuff. Just submit it. If this was, guys, I don't want to spend your whole lunch hour. I know you guys are on your call at 1. If this is a good thing for you, thumbs up, guys. Was this moving for you today? Something great? Thank you. Guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so blessed that you allow me even to speak to you. You have no idea. Since I've been that little kid riding that damn big wheel in my garage, saying I was meant for something different. It just means so much that I'm able to even share my fight with you, to share my love for you, and to you guys give it to me back. It just means so much. From the bottom of my heart, though, thank you. I love you all, and let's talk next Tuesday. Have a blessed day, guys. Talk soon.